If you don't align values and vision, you better sell the whole thing and hand over the keys, because it's just going to get worse from that day.
Welcome to another $4 million Strategies. Today we have with us Greg Selkoe, CEO and founder of XSET. He's going to tell us best practices on selling your business. This is part 2 in this session. You're going to enjoy it.
My last business, which I had a really good exit from, part of the reason I decided to exit was lucky because they didn't wind up kind of taking the business where I thought it could have gone 2 or 3 years later. They really ran into some trouble. But fortunately, I cashed in at the top of it was because I wasn't getting along with the partner that came from a merger. It wasn't an acquisition, but it was a merger, and it was a shotgun wedding where we all of a sudden were business partners, and it worked for a little bit of time. So I think the factors you really need to look at is, one is who's investing, what is the additional upside, the second bite of the apple. If you're satisfied with the first bite of the apple, the second bite is all gravy, right? But I think generally getting acquired, unless the business is in distress, which sometimes getting acquired is the smartest thing to do when you're in a business that's in distress. Keep in mind that if you're going to stay at that business, you now aren't the sole decision maker, and it's a transition to get used to it. But I would say that really there's times you sell because you have to sell and you kind of take whatever comes. But if you're in a position where you have a lot of power and authority over where, when, and why you sell and for how much, I would generally say it's probably smarter to sell the whole thing. Go back to them, negotiate a ability for you to stay for a little bit, get paid out some additional money, maybe make some salary, and then exit gracefully. You know, the truth is that a lot of us as entrepreneurs, as startup guys, you know, we have this incredible ability to pivot and to deal with lots of different challenges and issues. We're wartime CEOs, right? It gets to a point, and this is really kind of one of the issues I ran into with my first business was, you know, I just kept expanding because I was kind of bored. I didn't like to just sit there and make money. I wanted to do more stuff, you know? And so obviously as an older guy now, I realized that there's a time when maybe you don't scale, you don't grow. And sometimes it makes sense to bring someone else in that doesn't want the day-to-day challenges. You're the founder, you're the originator still of that business, but I probably stayed a little too long at my first business, honestly. I had a chance to exit and sell the whole thing, would have made a lot of money. I didn't do it. I chose to sell it in pieces and continue to work with new partners and bring on new working capital to expand and things. And, you know, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have done the first deal, which was great, secondary. Everyone made a lot of money. Everyone loved me at that time. And then I probably would have sold the second half in total and exited. But, you know, hindsight's 2020. And again, I think one of the things I think is important in business is there is no set. You have to do it this way or that way. Really, I think it's a macro decision on feel of the investor, and then it's a micro decision on all the other little details that matter specifically to that deal. If you don't align values and vision, you better sell the whole thing and hand over the keys, because it's just going to get worse from that day. That's kind of my, not particularly clear, but I think realistic view that I think you take the business as far as you can take it. And when you do a large deal with liquidity, you need to be happy with the deal that day. And if you've got a good partner and you can work in the business and you can continue to grow it and you can get a nice little chunk of equity back and grow that, and that does really well, that's awesome. But you should definitely not bank on 2 or 3 year more to actually make your sort of score from the exit, because it oftentimes 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work.
Greg, thank you so much for being part of $4 million Strategies.